And what's going on, guys? It's a special Sunday edition of the RCWR show, dropping for you guys Sunday, June 21st, 2020. Lee Sanders here. I am not alone for this special... Oh, well, hey, it happens. For this special episode, I dropped my tablet right as I was getting ready to set up the missus here. Joined along with Tammy. Say hello, honey.
Hey, y'all.
Give me a chance to pick it up here. Okay, so I'm good. So we're here for very good reason. Okay, so let's really... This isn't long-winded whatsoever. So let's really set this in motion real quick. So if you're following us on Patreon, and if you're not following us on Patreon, you're missing out on loads of great bonus audio video content we put up for you guys on a monthly basis. We have been reviewing Undertaker: The Last Ride, which is exclusively on the WWE Network, and we've been talking about it exclusively in its entirety, just by itself, on Patreon for our Patreon members. And they dropped Chapter 5 here today. And as we had told the listeners pretty much last week via Patreon, and I kind of teased it a little bit when I was talking about it on the show earlier this week, I said, I'm not really sure how we're going to do this. I'm not sure if we're going to just make it be a free-for-all or if we're just going to let it be a Patreon thing. And I kind of went back and forth with it, but my mind was made up way before the weekend. I think my mind was probably made up by Thursday that, you know what, it's the final chapter. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's just universally make it be available for everybody to check out the finale review and reactions to, you know, not just this episode, but just overall the series. And I'm glad that now to a more broader audience, people are going to be checking this out, hearing what we have to say about the special and all. And I gotta tell you, of all the episodes, I mean, each episode, it was just, it's getting better and better and better. And this one really just kind of took my breath away on so many levels. I don't want to do a full-blown review. I would rather just kind of, you know, just...
Pick out a few moments.
Yeah, you know, I would rather kind of do like how Scott Van Pelt was doing it with the Jordan series, you know.
Right.
He gave you a couple of bullet points, and then they had Michael Wilbon and all that, you know. And of course, those of you that had watched it, we definitely would love to know what you all had thought about, not just Chapter 5, but just overall the series. So definitely sound off and let us know. Now, we were supposed to do a double dose for you guys. We were supposed to do Last Ride, Chapter 5, and we were supposed to do an episode of Wrestling with the Topics. I totally forgot that today is Father's Day. So for those of you that happen to be fathers, shout out to you guys. For those of you not fathers, hey, happy Sunday. Hopefully it's relaxful, you're enjoying yourself and everything. But okay, so I mean, let's really tackle this, because I know we're gonna have people that's gonna be checking this out, and we're streaming this live right now at the time that we are live. We're streaming this not just on YouTube, we're also streaming this on Facebook, on Twitch, and on Mixer, not Mixler. There is no Mixler account. I see some of you guys keep subscribing to Mixler. Well, I went on ahead and I deleted that fucking account because I hadn't been on there in years. So Mixer is where you can also find the RCWR show. And you know, we're also going to do a solid, and we're actually going to make this episode particularly be available on Fight TV as well. So we definitely want to give a shout out to our Fight TV audience as well. So
Cool.
I got to give you mad props, and to those of you again that did not check out the Patreon reviews of our show, I got to give Tammy a lot of props, because on Chapter 4, when we were reviewing that particular episode, but we were also previewing Chapter 5, I asked Tammy, and you all that listen to it can back us up here and comment and everything. I said to Tammy, okay, so in setting up Chapter 5, where do you see this ending? Where do you see this going? And when you posed what you posed out there, I didn't scoff at the idea, But I just felt, okay, could they really do that? Surely it's going to be on a much grander scale. But your exact words to me on that chapter 4 episode was, I think he's going to retire. I think he's going to announce that he's retired. Mm-hmm. And I just, I didn't scoff at the idea, but at the same time, I said, well, he doesn't seem like the type of person that would have the Undertaker character, and I said it on there, would get the send-off like a Ric Flair, like a Shawn Michaels. He doesn't seem like he would get that kind of a send-off, and people are celebrating him in the ring and everything. He seems like the type that would just ride off into the sunset, and we both agreed with that point. And lo and behold, that's exactly how you called it. Mm-hmm. So my first question to you, and you can run with it as long as you want, what you called last week, and then to go, and we're just, for those of you that's watching this, we're just, keep in mind, we're just a couple of minutes removed from watching the final episode. Right. So, I mean, at the time you're watching this right now, we're probably about maybe at most 10 minutes removed from seeing the episode. We went right to, because it was always the plan to get right in front of the studio here and do the episode. So run with it as long as you want to. Run with the idea you posed last week, and then to actually see it come to fruition the way that it did and how it all came about.
Well, I saw the story arc just unfolding in front of my eyes. And it wasn't really a story. Let me not say that. Not a story arc. Essentially, life come to full circle within the series. And he didn't seem like that type of person that would want all the fanfare. Number one. Number two, hearing, I'm done, literally come out of his mouth. I'm done. Let me see. But I'm done. And essentially, you could tell that what he really wanted before he retired was a match that he could be proud of, and a match that he could essentially be okay with and say, I'm good. I'm going to retire now. And Extreme Rules was that match for him.
So he thought.
And then we see AJ Styles and, this starting to unfold. And then you start to go, okay. And I think either way, well, no, let me backtrack a bit. I think if COVID had have not happened and a wrestling match would have happened in the ring, depending on the outcome, we may have a different outcome.
As far as, I got to poke you a little bit.
So basically, if it wasn't to his liking, it would probably be still a rinse repeat, But it wasn't that way. COVID happened. They truly made the best decisions. It was like you could not have asked for more stars to be in the same alignment as they were.
Given the circumstances.
Yeah. And I just felt the finality in his voice. Hey, I'm good. Really, I'm good. And I just felt with Sixth Sense, whatever you want to call it. But I just felt like he was done. The series coming out, the Boneyard match, and it just started to add up and add up and add up. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is what's going to happen. Surreal was the feeling I had.
Yeah.
As far as watching, that last episode and just going, okay, wow, well done.
Very well produced. I gotta tell you, very well produced. And to WWE, I'm gonna run on some of the points that you just made and expand upon in a hot second. But to WWE, everybody involved with this docu-series, great job phenomenal job. It has been truly a good minute since I've been able to be engulfed in a documentary, whether it's on TV or via an app or on DVD. And honestly, the last time I can remember being into some type of a documentary by WWE.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and I kind of have to go in. I kind of have to honestly go in DVD format, and for me, it's almost a tie. I lean towards Eric Bischoff because I thought that was a pretty damn good one, and of course the CM Punk one, best in the world.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, so for me, again, from WWE, I'm talking about, folks. That's a key thing, from WWE. Honorable mention, the rise and fall of the AWA. I know that's not the exact wording of it, but you all know exactly the DVD I'm talking about that WWE had put out about the AWA. That gets honorable mention for me. So this was well produced, well executed, and WWE, please, you got to give fans an opportunity to be able to own this on DVD and on digital platforms.
I agree.
That is money-making opportunity
at its finest.
At its finest. I mean, I can just picture that whole box set. I can picture the disc. I know there's got to be some bloopers, some exclusive interviews, some fun stories. Outtakes. I mean, you could even set up that box set in a way where you can have new exclusive interviews tailor-made to be part of that box set. For example, I really wish that Kane would have been able to, you know, talk more, because in looking at everybody that they were able to talk to, I really did not see like little to zero of Kane. And I'm just kind of playing it back in my head.
Very, very hit and miss.
Right. I don't remember, you know, seeing current Kane, because we all know how he looked from when he did the Stone Cold podcast. I don't remember during, and I'll have to rely on you guys if you guys can recall, you know, recent Kane popping up during this miniseries.
Yeah, he was there. Very, very minimal, but he was there.
I don't remember it in a way where he was, you know, in front of the camera like Shane, like Vince, like
he was.
Okay, well, it's
a couple times. Again, it wasn't very much.
They need more of Kane, for example, and just, you know, boatload of other people that they can get, but basically have it tailor made for that box set. That would be really, really great. Fans will buy this.
Oh yeah.
Fans will definitely buy this.
No doubt.
I know one of the main reasons why WWE had went on such a decline to the point of eliminating, all right, we're not going to put out as many DVDs, because they've done this, they've operated like this now for, God, it feels like about 5 to 7 years, the decrease in DVDs that they've put out quarterly.
Okay.
But this is the one instance where, no, fans, you got, trust me, you got so many fans that want to buy The Last Dance of Michael Jordan on DVD.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me,
it'll be the same.
The same thing. So there's great money-making opportunity right there, especially if you did a limited edition box set where maybe you could include some, you know, autograph memorabilia from Taker. You know, something exclusive.
And everything else that you just, you know, laid out.
Yeah.
But not only that, okay, heck, do either both or give them a choice. Okay, well, I don't really have DVDs in the house anymore. Okay, well, that's fine. So you get a DVD and a digital download.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if you don't particularly care for the digital download, then that's, you know, completely fine. And that's maybe not one you opt into. Or it's a, you know, a separate set. But still, it's, you know, a collectibles. It's a memorabilia. It is a piece in time of a lot of history for fans that have known his career for the past 30 years.
And see, you can even expand on that box set even more. On top of everything I just mentioned that you can include, you could also include, I don't know if they've done this before, so I'll have to rely on you guys, because it's been a minute since I've collected just strictly wrestling matches from
True.
WWE. But if they could just give Taker access to the entire WWE library and all the territories that he worked under before coming to WWE, which ultimately WWE did acquire. Okay, Mark, here you go. You got the entire library. Pick your favorite matches. Let's say we can, we'll do this box set justice. We will do like about 20 hours maybe of matches or whatever. You hand pick them.
Yep.
I would love it if they could do some stuff like that.
And then list his favorite from 1 to 10.
Yeah. Well, you could either do it that way, or you could just...
Or just
it
random.
it doesn't even have
true.
to be like a compilation thing. If anything, maybe you could have a part where... And I'm sure at this point, man, Taker's talking. I'm sure people are just sponging for just, what was going on during this match? I wouldn't mind even hearing alternate commentating with Taker, and maybe he can be with Michael Cole, somebody that he can really play off of pretty good for the audio commentating of the DVD and everything. But WWE, do strongly consider, if you haven't already, please strongly consider doing a box set, DVD and digital compilation of that series, because it was that phenomenal. To your point, yes, very surreal seeing Undertaker in those final moments. Okay, we got to address the elephant in the room. Okay, so what's going on? You had this great match with AJ Styles that was a cinematic match. Let's really stress that. A cinematic match with AJ Styles, a boneyard match that was so well received by everybody in the wrestling world. I can remember coming on the WrestleMania post show and saying that was just awesome. It's like, how can anybody shit on that? It's everything that lives up to the Taker legacy, and has him going on such a strong high note. But I do remember posing the question on the WrestleMania post show, which was, as great of a match that was against AJ, and just understanding the whole feud of it and everything going into it, how do you top that? How do you build off of that, is what I said on the post show. And my answer was, you don't.
Can't.
You don't. Just let that be it.
Absolutely.
Let it rest.
Absolutely.
And so to see this incredible journey, because they basically were following Undertaker since 2017 to now, to see this spiritual journey that he went on.
Yes.
They're very conflicted. He knows that, despite the injuries and everything, he knows that, okay, my body, it can't do what my mind knows very well. I know exactly what I want to do, but the body, everything is not there. The timing is not there. The cardiovascular to a certain degree. So we find him rattling with the idea of life after wrestling, but the crowd being on the road, everything. It's just that dragon as Triple H, and really Triple H, and I really wish that they could have just called this Undertaker Chasing the Dragon, because that was cool. That was cool. That's what they should have called it. Triple H,
at least one of the episodes.
Triple H, I gotta tell you something. With regards to Triple H during this series, and I'm not sucking Triple H off in any type of way, but I gotta tell you something. Triple H really gave you some true insight into, just of all the people that he really stood out to me, because I've never really heard him talk that in depth before. And for me, I've obviously I'm a big Triple H fan, and I know he has a deep appreciation for the business, those that came before him, and everything like that. But to get him in that position where, all right, here's a rare instance where you can really tap into his psychology. That's what was very alluring to me. Yes. That's what was very alluring to me. I would just, put it to you this way. get Paul Levesque away from the cameras and all that other shit, and he just seems like he would just be a ball of a good time as far as conversating
yeah, a couple of
goes.
Beers.
Yeah. As far as conversating goes, he's
I agree.
very deep.
And it's very deep and very informative and very, it's intriguing to where it keeps you wanting more from whatever topic he's on.
Right. But picking up in those final moments of chapter 5 there, we see Taker, who's out there fishing, and he's just a couple of days removed from the shoot, basically. Well, actually, correction, it's 2 months later.
Yes,
so
it's 2 months later.
So it comes off, because remember, when they did this match, him and AJ,
you said it was in March.
They I believe they filmed this in late March, maybe going into because when was WrestleMania? WrestleMania was not in WrestleMania was in April, wasn't it? Yeah, WrestleMania was in April.
Like the first couple of days. Yeah, the first, third, and fourth.
Yes. Okay, so they filmed it definitely late March. So 2 months after that definitely would have put them around May.
Late May.
Yeah, or around May after this match, and you see him and his wife Michelle McCool. They're out there fishing and everything, and their daughter and out there fishing. And he talked about how that shoot of the Boneyard match that he and AJ did, they went at it for hours. What we're watching. And that's the power of everything being cinema. And I mean, I know a thing or two. We both know a thing or two about, okay, we're trying to film this. And, the many times that we've covered Awesome Con and, we've had to take hours of footage. And, okay, now we're in the chopping block room. And now we've got to edit all this down to about 20 minutes of the best stuff and give it to the people to check out and everything. And, to hear that they went hours upon hours, but then just looking at the execution of how everything had went, he pretty much said, and I really didn't even know. I never even dawned on my mind, how was he physically after that? But he said it was very grueling. He felt as though he went through a 45-minute match with AJ when it was all said and done. And what was so heartbreaking to me, and I did not even know this, I never covered it on the show. As far as I know, there were no wrestling sites that had covered the news, but as he's, getting ready to go into this match, like the day before, when they're getting ready to set everything up.
They essentially taped 2 days.
Right.
For the
right.
match.
And I'm talking about after day 1 wrapped up.
Correct.
Yeah, I got it in the notes.
Oh, okay.
After day 1, when he was in the vehicle riding along with Michael Hayes, he was riding with Triple H. He gets the call from his niece, basically saying, your brother had a heart attack. Taker's thinking,
he's like, okay, what hospital?
No, sorry, he that's it, just it. He's gone. Right. All right, so Taker loses his brother, and the point that I was trying to make earlier, because I don't want to lose my train of thought, I did not see any wrestling news site. I did not hear of any fellow podcaster that even mentioned. It's one thing if I miss it. If I miss it normally, and especially if it's very significant, I always do my best to next show. I talk about it. I usually do a good job, stay on top of it. But I did not hear anything from fellow podcasters, from wrestling websites about The Undertaker's brother dying. So to just hear that he lost his brother, and oh yeah, by the way, this is happening during a time where you're filming essentially a casket match, a burial match, with AJ Styles.
Right.
Oh yeah, by the way, you got to go in the next day and you got to continue production for this.
Same match.
Right. I mean, you talk about
taxing.
Yeah.
Very taxing and very emotional.
If anybody could have understood, this guy just lost his brother. We need to give him a couple of days off. Yeah. We got the site here. We can easily just do what we need to do. If we need to buy him a couple of days, we can do that. But for him to just be a true professional, go in there, do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Two different ways. On the one hand, I can look at it as he's pretty damn good in separating the character from his private life.
Human being.
No, character from his private life.
Okay.
Because remember, one of the I'm being more specific.
Okay.
Because as a wrestling fan, the thing that always intrigued me about the Undertaker these past 30 years was, I want to know more about the man behind this gimmick. You know, what's his family like?
Okay.
And that's always something that he's done an excellent job keeping at a distance.
That's true.
And so, you know, on the one hand, I can look at the passing of his brother and say, well, the fact that no other podcast that I'm aware of touched upon that, no website had touched upon that. You know, here he is, 30 plus years. He's doing still a pretty damn good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
keeping that at bay.
Certain things at bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the other part of me looks at it from a fan standpoint and says, "Oh man," you know, and again, it just reaffirms the professional and what great respect he has for the business, and always trying to pay it forward. And then on top of that, you know, shortly after all of this, Michelle McCool loses her nephew. Mm-hmm. So you talk about the rough patch, you know, that they experienced there. So heartache from both of those cats.
It's obviously and still very fresh.
And still very fresh.
Yeah.
Yes, very fresh. So, you know, at one point, as it gets more closer to the end here, this is all in the final scene. It's like in the final 5 minutes of this, Taker is sitting in a chair, kind of like Jordan. And he says, at this point, this time the cowboy really rides away. There's nothing left for me to conquer, nothing left to accomplish. The game has changed. It's time for the new guys to step up. This documentary has really helped me with that, and also not judge myself as harsh, but most importantly, see things on a broader scale. And so Taker follows that up and he says, I'm done. He also says, okay, so he says he's done. But he also says, if Vince McMahon decides he wants to pull a Adam West Batman quote, if he decides he wants to, you know, break out the glass over the phone and pick it up and call me.
Only break in case of emergency.
Emergency, right. I'm there for him. But I like the fact that he said, even at that, if he reaches out to me, I'm listening.
But I'm not going to say yes.
Right. I got to really consider it. But I'm done. Okay, so this is my whole thing. See, I can look at this two different ways, and I want to throw it back to you because I want you to chime in on this a little bit more. I can look at this two ways. On the show, I always talk about self-accountability. Now, I'm like this. Lee, you retired? I'm retired. Version 2. Lee, you retired? I'm retired, but if the fans want me to do another podcast, I mean, no. Okay? So, my whole thing is, for me, it felt like it ended in such a way where Undertaker's basically going, hey, I'm done, but if Vince really needs me, all he has to do is reach out and I'll be there. If there was ever a time I could have heard one of the producers say, okay, so as far as a match, as far as helping out at the performance center, behind the scenes, I wish there could have been more probing right then and there than leaving all that shroud of mystery. And here's the other point I want to make to this as well. We needed Vince McMahon to go on the record in those final minutes and double down. We needed, if there was ever a time where Vince McMahon should have appeared. And you see how recent his interviews were in there. So it's not like, oh, well, this was footage with, Vince McMahon from 2 years ago. No. This is recent. He knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. He's got to sign off on everything. So he knows what's going on. Mark said, what? Okay, so now, all right, McMahon, pull a Michael Jordan. We want to show you what Mark had said here and get your reactions to it. Here you go. And at that point, Vince could have easily said, I don't care how he had to phrase it. Hey, for all the contributions that he's made, towards this business.
I do wish that could have been said.
Yes. I wish Vince McMahon would have fucking popped in there and fucking wear your heart on your sleeve this one moment. It's obvious you really love Mark. Okay? So put your heart out there on the fucking sleeve and say, I love him. I love him like a brother. I appreciate everything that he's done for my company, and for my family. If he feels he's done and that's it for him, I just want him to be happy. I just want my friend to be happy. That's all I care about the most. So if he thinks he's done, if that dragon has been put to rest, I won't be hitting him up. I wish it could have went to that fucking standpoint, but it didn't. And that was a little bit infuriating for me because in that sense, and I hope people are kind of looking at this as well, it almost kind of felt like the buck was being passed a little bit. Yeah, I'm retired. But if Vince calls me, I'll listen. I'm done. But I'll listen. And
I think that's himself giving his own self an out for possibilities. But he has since even went on the record about, because there's still, rumblings as far as him doing another match with Sting.
Oh, I think he shot that down.
He did. And he said, I physically cannot give, basically in a nutshell, I physically cannot give you guys the match that you're looking for. And that's just not, what I need to do right now. And essentially, I'm done. And just reiterating that. I think his headspace, he truly is done. I think he just said that just to give an out, and just to say, well, but his best swan song after this is to help out new talent. If he's needed anywhere, it's to help out new talent. Truly. Like, Triple H hit the nail on the head, like, really hard. He's like, look, passing the buck onto future generations of talent and making them better than they were is the lifeline in the future of this company. And absolutely hit the nail on the head. And that's where he could, because they already said, hey, well, when we're in Florida, he's always at the Performance Center.
Paying it forward. Yeah.
So I still would hope and continue to hope that he could continue to do that for the company that he loves. Okay, my body can't physically do this anymore, but my mind is still very much there, and I can help elevate. So I can't help in this way, but I can certainly help in this way. And I'm not saying that I'm full-time there, but I can make some appearances.
Right. And to the point that you made earlier, for those of you that were not aware, Undertaker, this follows up when she was talking about the whole Sting thing. And remember, we've heard fans years upon years, even in 2020. There are still fans, especially after the Boneyard match. Oh, well, maybe we can get Sting and Taker. Undertaker had recently did an interview with comicbook.com, and he talked about the idea of wrestling Sting. Now, when asked what he would like to say to the fans who are still holding out hope for a match between him and the Icon. Undertaker stated that even though one can never say never in this business, we must look at whether the duo would be able to have a match that delivers on fans' expectations. And he said, and I quote, this isn't long-winded, so stay with me here. Well, in this world, you never say never, but I think as great as it sounds on paper, and it does, I mean, obviously that is a super marquee match, right? But where I kind of differ from a lot of people is I look past the marquee value and I look on the ability to deliver. So like you said, there's so many people that are clamoring for that match that I just don't know what that match could deliver on the people's expectations. Now, he also admitted that he isn't as mobile as he once was. That's something that he stated throughout this documentary. And he made it clear that with expectations for the match being so high and having the match not delivering would be a bigger disappointment than the potential scenario where the match never happens. And I quote, and the only reason I say that, I'll take full responsibility. I don't have the mobility or the same skill set that I once did that I would need to make that match great. So there's just certain things it's better left to the theater of the mind to actually put it out there. And then with the expectations being so high and the match not delivering, it would be a bigger disappointment than the match never happening at all. Furthermore, another thing that we learned from this documentary is, and thus we would have this vicious cycle all over again of Undertaker chasing the dragon to finally feel satisfied. And yes. So I get where he's coming from. And, you know, it's almost like how he contemplated initially with the idea of facing AJ Styles when AJ, and I love how that all just played about.
That story was great.
That was a great story to hear. So AJ, in a nutshell, you know, he hears from a buddy, hey, you checked out this Undertaker interview on the Stone Cold podcast? AJ checks it out, and what catches his ear is, okay, so Taker feels he's got a couple of more matches in him, 2, 3 or whatever. Okay, and he wants to go out on his terms and everything. Well, you know what? Man, wouldn't that be something if I could get in the ring with him? If I couldn't give him his last match, if I could be the second to last guy to give him that match on his way out, I mean, who better than me? So he pitches it to Mark, and Mark, very complimentary of AJ. Very. All the superstars that you saw on this, very complimentary of AJ. And Undertaker, man, if you and me would have been going at it 10, 15 years ago, oh, hell yeah. If it was 10, 15 minutes ago, hell yeah. We could have been doing this match, no doubt about it. But I don't think so. And AJ goes, okay, look, just think about it a little bit longer. Just really think about it. Take a couple of days, couple of weeks, get back to me. Mark talks it over with Michelle. Michelle spent all this time trying to get him to quit. She's going, she realizes, okay, well, it's AJ. Who better than AJ? Who better than, this very talented guy? Somebody that you can definitely feel safe working with. You've always given him praise. You see how good he is. Why not, AJ? This could be what you need to finally go off into the sunset and everything.
And he's essentially already said for himself, as his matches, his more comfortable matches, is working with guys that are smaller than him. Exactly.
Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy,
Shawn Michaels.
Of course, Shawn Michaels. And so that's, so he rattled with this for a couple of weeks, and then finally, he plays it back. He starts going back, looking at AJ Styles matches and everything, and then it finally clicks in his head. You know what? Okay, let's do this. So he actually, and to the person that's asking, can I put it on full screen? I'm trying to understand, what are you talking about, put on full screen? We're just strictly reviewing and giving our reactions to the Undertaker Last Ride episode. You guys, if you're trying to watch it, I mean, as far as I know, you can hop on the WWE Network and, you know, bust out your credit card, or, you know,
get a free trial.
Well, they don't do the free trial anymore.
They don't do free trials anymore?
So now the only thing with the free trial right now, because there's like a free tier, you don't need to sign up. You can just basically go on there. There's limited content you can check out, and they've got the first episode of Undertaker Last Ride available for everybody.
Now, see, that's good marketing.
That's good marketing. That's good marketing. That is very good marketing. But no, we're just sharing our reactions to it, giving our overall takeaway of it. Trust me, if it was a case where we were going to show you guys the entire episode, then we would say something like watch along, or you could watch it right here. We don't operate like that because, first of all, copyright issues. You know, in 2020, and I don't know why a lot of people, you know, it doesn't click in their head, but a lot of people think they can just hop on YouTube and they can see whatever content, but it never dawns on their head that there's a lot of copyright issues. So if you do see somebody that uploads a pay-per-view or uploads a TV show, that's only going to be on there temporarily, because that video and that uploader are going to get in trouble within 24 to 48 hours. You know, so yeah, it's bullshit. But no, getting back to what we were talking about. So yeah, to just see how all of that had played out. You know, with AJ, it almost felt like the second coming of Shawn Michaels when you really stop and think about it.
Well, I actually was thinking, you know, just kind of like that perfect storm. You know, everything became into alignment. This came into be. This came into be, just to create this magnificent event, this magnificent, you know, thing that could happen to make his retirement to what he wanted it to be, to where he was satisfied, to where he felt like, okay, I'm good. You know, and I will tell you that getting to know Mark Calloway, the man, nothing like it.
No, nothing like it. And you know, another thing that really had weighed in, and I'm not really sure if it's really been affecting younger people. And when I say younger people, I would say people under 25. But what really had him steer more in the direction of, to me, I felt, you know, I'm at peace. I'm just going to let this be. No, the point I'm going to, the point where I'm going to, where he got to that point where he's at ease, where he's at calm, was him talking about the death of Kobe.
Yes.
You know, him bringing that up. And then he lost his brother. Not to mention, Michelle loses her nephew. And she got all of those things that's going on. COVID. And then how about the personal touch that had went on in that episode, where, and I found it very, and I don't know if a lot of my colleagues are going to really be going in this direction, but I found it so poetic. Hear me out, because you don't know where I'm going.
I was just agreeing.
No, you don't know where I'm going, though.
Partly
you don't know where I'm going. I found it very poetic that when Undertaker, keep in mind, this episode dropped today, which is Father's Day, and it's so poetic that they go to that one part where he's talking about memories of his dad. And you're going, and it's Father's Day.
And being a dad.
Right. So all of those things, missing out. I'm sure the pandemic, which he described as, didn't he say bizarre?
Yes.
I think that's the word he used, bizarre. I'm sure just looking at all of that, because it's been a crazy ass 2020 so far. I'm sure all of those things just really made him take a step back even further. Not to mention, he also touched upon it, the injuries that he's had over the years.
Pain. You know,
that Goldberg match really
opened his eyes. And
because he could have been either a quadriplegic or he could have been dead. And he said that in this episode. So if that really doesn't make you pump the brakes and, okay, I really need to. And it happens with everybody. You know, that's the thing that I want younger folks, again, under 25, that's the thing I need younger folks to understand is you feel invincible. I get exactly what he's talking about. I'm creeping up on 40. So I get it. I truly do get it. You're at one point you feel like you're invincible. You feel that nothing can touch you and all of that shit. And then you just start seeing shit go down. Father time. Nothing really brings your age more at full front and center is the term I want to use. Nothing brings your age when Father Time is starting to catch up to you more and more than when you see the people that you grew up with, friends, family, celebrities, musicians, athletes, you know, and you grew up on them. For some, maybe it's a case where old age catches up to the best of them, or like with Kobe. Freak accident gone, you know, years before they should have been taken away. And so for Taker to be at that point where now he's finally at ease and is saying, you know, I want to enjoy the finer things in life. I want to enjoy my family. I want to watch my kid grow up. And it's, you know, I said it a couple of years ago, and I would always say it because it would be redundant when it would happen on the show. But around WrestleMania time, every season, I would always get just that one question. It didn't irritate me, but my answer was always the same. Do you think Undertaker's going to retire this year? And I would always say to people, you know, I don't really know. Like, he knows that.
And that was echoed throughout the series.
Right. And I would always follow that up with, I'll tell you what, given what he's given us for 3 decades, the body of work that he has, I would always say, as a fan, I'm good. And if you had the opportunity to grow up on him as long as I grew up on him, then you guys are good as well. You know, so for me, just to see this proper swan song that he got, if you'd have told me he was going to have, and for him to just thank all the people, you got the George Strait troubadour playing in the background and everything.
Poetic, fitting song that he could have chose, or whoever chose it.
Oh, you know that was him. Come on, he's a big old Texas boy.
I know.
He loves his country. That much I do know about. Taker loves his country.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I am obviously a George Strait fan, but the most poetic song that he could have chose, I mean, spot on.
Yeah. Assuming he chose it, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't choose it. I would be very surprised if he didn't choose it.
I actually would be too.
For those of you that watched it and you're not a country fan, so it may have gone in one ear and not the other, but when you look up that song and its lyrics, it really fits and embodies everything that you've watched during these, I would say 5 weeks, but we had a couple of gaps there, so we'll just say 5 episodes. But final thoughts just overall on the documentary, and the man we know is Mark Calloway, and for those of you, once again, if you saw it, we definitely would like to know what you thought about the documentary, everything that you've heard us talk about over the past hour, you know, with regards to Mark Calloway. Do you guys feel that he's definitely done? Do you think Vince McMahon will leave him be? Do you suspect Vince McMahon is not going to leave him alone? You know, share your thoughts. Let us know. But, you know, your final thoughts overall on the great career of The Undertaker, this documentary series, and then some.
I will will tell you that when I was younger, I didn't quite understand the character. It would just kind of went over my head because I wasn't a real big wrestling fan back then as a young kid. I will tell you that I am extremely honored that we got to see him in person. At least, or I did once.
I never knew you saw Undertaker once.
I was at a WWE match with you.
Oh, that's what you meant. I'm thinking
No,
we did a meet and greet. Like when I do the Undertaker meet and greet, that's news to my ears. What the fuck?
No, I mean not personally meet him, but see his
him
performance,
in person.
see him in action, see him,
and remind folks. Because that was your first time seeing Taker.
That was actually my first time seeing Taker.
Give him, set it up for him real quick. Give him the short version.
First of all, I was freezing to death at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was, what was it, June? I can't.
No, it was
April,
winter.
April.
Yeah, it was chilly.
It was actually mid-March is when it was.
Yeah.
And we were in DC, and it was essentially the road to WrestleMania. Which was the final show prior to WrestleMania that year.
It was the last Raw.
The last Raw prior to WrestleMania for that year. And I was freezing. And I'm going, okay, well, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. And then and then it started getting quiet. I was like, okay. Well, and then all of a sudden, you started hearing the music come. Like, oh, okay. And let me tell you, when they did his pyro, I wasn't cold anymore.
No bull. Yeah.
And just the reaction from the crowd, I can attest to him saying what he said about there's nothing like it. And, you know, the crowd was pretty into it, but not like Undertaker. Everybody that was in that crowd was on their feet, screaming, shouting, stomping, you know, phones, lighters, whatever have you, for Undertaker. It was like the second coming of Elvis, you know, for them. And they had a wonderful match. Couldn't even tell you who he faced that night. Because
It wasn't a match. I'm surprised you don't remember. That was the final Raw. That was the final Raw. It wasn't a match. Okay. No, it was the final Raw. Where, because Paul Bearer had not even been deceased that long,
right?
And Paul Heyman came out dressed as Paul Bearer,
yes,
and basically was setting up,
CM Punk.
Setting up Taker so that CM Punk could jump Taker from behind.
That's what it was.
And that was basically the go home. That's what wrapped up Raw and pretty much was setting up SmackDown. Really, back in those days, it was still kind of the case where Raw was basically to go home. You really didn't need to watch SmackDown. But that Raw was pretty much so her first introduction, you know, to Taker. Well, I mean, she saw him on TV prior, but as far as her in person, because we had some damn good seats. I mean, we were like one row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row. I think we were 7 to 8 rows back. From the Titantron. Yeah. It was almost kind of going like from a diagonal direction. So like the Titantron's right here, and we were kind of going almost in a 7 o'clock direction going back. Yeah. Because
essentially we were on either the first or second row of the first tier of the floor.
Right.
I mean, not the floor, but to where you started to go up to the bleachers.
Right.
And so we were really close to the stage.
Yeah.
The stage of where they come out. But also pretty darn close to the ring as well.
Matter of fact, if you go on the Facebook page, facebook.com/the RCWR show, there's still the photo albums up there.
I was gonna say, yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
So that in itself was memorable for me, you know, and just seeing him perform in person, because I'd already become a fan of his at that point with, you know, him and Triple H and their matches. So, but getting back to the series, for me, I was very much into the documentary and the series, just as finding out about Undertaker, the man, or actually not the character, the man, Mark Calloway.
Right.
And I was so enthralled by it. I really was. I was almost as enthralled as you were.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, hey, that's coming on. Okay, wonderful. And really enjoyed watching it. And I have a question for you, because I actually just thought about it and I thought, that's an interesting one. Just kind of a side note, since they both were amazing in their own right, which one did you enjoy more? The Last Dance or The Last Ride?
Oh, man. Well, see, here's the thing. With Last Dance, I did learn some things about Jordan that I did not know. Probably the biggest takeaway I took away was, now I understand the madness to everything he was orchestrating. Now to hear it in his own words, now I understand why he operated the way he operated. And so, for me, he let his guard down a bit, and I appreciate it, and it was nice to tap into his mind. But there was a lot of things that I had already knew, and then there were some things where, I remember hearing the rumors about that. Yeah, so what really had went down? Oh, so that's what had went down. Okay, cool. My biggest takeaway from Last Dance was, okay, so wait a minute. Jordan, and I continue saying this to people, I say, so Jordan said the only coach he wanted to play for was Phil Jackson. If Phil wasn't going to be there in Chicago, well, then he's not going to be there. He's done. Okay, well, what I don't understand is if you and Phil were tight like that, and you missed 3 years of your best prime years in basketball, meanwhile, Phil Jackson goes to the Lakers, and he's got Kobe and Shaq. What I don't understand is, if Phil was your boy, why didn't you pick up the phone and call Phil and say, hey, Phil, hey, Uncle Phil, what's up? I want to come to Bel Air with you. What's up? You, me, Kobe, Shaq. That's like 4 rings right there. I mean, woo!
That's another 6.
Everybody else keeps talking about, Jerry Krause, Jerry Reinsdorf, blah, 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 blah. The main thing I keep focusing on that nobody really has touched upon is, so why didn't he go to the Lakers?
Yeah.
Why didn't he call Phil? Did he call Phil?
Right.
That documentary ended in such fashion where I'm going, okay, so
Did they reach out?
They never talked about the Lakers?
Or did they have a falling out that nobody's talking about?
Right. Well, what happened? Because it almost kind of makes it look as though Phil kind of played Jordan.
It does.
Because when you really take a step back, it almost looks like self-destruction from within, and Phil Jackson kind of got the ball rolling. To hear Jerry Reinsdorf say, I offered Phil to come back, but Phil, he pretty much declined.
Later on.
Right. So that was probably the one biggest takeaway I had from Last Dance. Everything else was just kind of, I kind of remember. Yeah,
I kind of remember that, but in a pretty low bow.
So The Last Ride, I would say I enjoyed more than The Last Dance.
Okay.
Because I got to understand a lot about the man behind the character who was a mystery to me for so many decades. And what really got the ball rolling for me was the Stone Cold Broken Skull session. Right. That interview was just, that's what got the ball rolling. And I remember after I had reviewed that episode and then going on the podcast the next go around, I remember being among the first podcasters that said, this is how we start to humanize Taker. And I remember even saying, I remember even saying they should capitalize on that, since they got him talking, why not do a documentary? Why not do something for the WWE Network? Little did we know.
It was already in the works or
for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Last Ride for me, easily, I would say, Hands down, hands down. Also, you know, just I said it many times over the years on the show. I'm gonna say it again. Undertaker, Mark Calloway, as a wrestling fan, and I think all wrestling fans around the world will definitely share in these same sentiments that's followed your career for over 3 decades. Thank you. If that Boneyard match was the last time that we're pretty much, in essence, going to see you in the ring, thank you. The body of work that you leave behind, it's going to continue on for generations and generations.
For sure.
And the sacrifices you made, you know, your family, your health, for me, and I'm sure for many fans, not in vain. We appreciate everything that you did for the business. You know, there's not that many guys, especially in this era that we're in right now, where you know it's been a crazy week in wrestling, where there's a lot of people that's on shit lists for some what the fuck shit.
Right.
But no matter what, in the 3 decades that Undertaker has been involved in the business, you have never heard him involved in any type of controversy whatsoever. You've never heard him involved in some steroid bullshit. You've never seen him violate some stupid ass wellness policy. You've never seen or heard him get a fucking DUI. You ain't never heard nothing scandalous with Mark Calloway.
Always a true professional.
Always a true professional. There's a lot that people can learn from a guy like that.
Absolutely.
There's a lot. So for all his contributions, you know, it's always funny. Like yearly on this show, I've been at this since 2011. Yearly. Think this is the year Undertaker's going to retire. You think this, you think that. Always been the same. I'm okay with his body of work that he's given us. If he were to call it quits tomorrow, I'm good. See, the people that want to continue to see him wrestle are mostly the people that came on board late.
Right.
But fear not. You got the WWE Network, you got YouTube, you got Daily Motion, you got DVDs. It's a beautiful thing called the internet. I mean,
yeah,
what he's done is going to live on forever, ever and ever. But I also want to thank him and his family for opening up the way that they did. Because you want to talk about one of the most protected gimmicks in wrestling. The most protected wrestlers in the business was that character. Was that character. So
well, you have to protect a mystique.
Yes. Oh, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
But no, I just
no, I know.
I just can't help but thank them for.
I agree.
You know.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I share your sentiments. You know, thank you for your body of work. Thank you for opening up your hearts and your home, you know, to give us that insight into you know, the man behind the mask, so to speak.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And it's been a great ride, you know, along with you, and to see, you know, and to be and to hear from you. You know, things that, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. And just really go along the ride with you. And for that, we thank you. And for that, we appreciate you and your body of work and the sacrifices that you've made to entertain.
Indeed. Indeed. So look, we want to know what you guys had thoughts. So definitely keep the interactions going, because I am going to be back live on the air with you guys Monday night, June 22nd, 2020. We'll be on after Monday Night Raw goes off the air. We'll be streaming live on the multiple platforms. And depending on the volume of comments we get, once you guys are checking this out on demand and on the downloads, I'll probably dedicate a couple of minutes to the show, just kind of revisit this a little bit and share some of you all reactions online and everything. Please, if you guys had appreciated this reactions slash review edition of Undertaker The Last Ride Chapter 5, please go out of your way, share this throughout social media. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. You're always going to be able to find really cool content. And hit the like button. Especially on YouTube, you guys hit the like button. Lets the YouTube algorithm guys know you appreciated this. will help other wrestling fans, especially those that, oh yeah, what's some of these guys saying about the Undertaker joint? What they got to say? What's their reactions? What's their review? YouTube can help them out. And hey, check this out. This is for you. But good stuff. Good stuff. I'm sad that it's over. I wish there were 5 more parts. I wish there were 5 more parts, but it's over, and But I tell you what, it ended on such a high note, and I'm gonna say it one last time, and this is not long-winded. Vince McMahon, I hope you do the right thing here, and I hope you just, after 30 years of service, I hope you just let that man ride off into the sunset. If you maybe want to have him do stuff behind the scenes, pay it forward, help out your roster, because Lord knows
they need it.
Lord knows the talent is there, but they're lacking in a lot of areas where a guy like Mark Calloway could really help them. Could really help them. So,
Agreed.
If you want to continue to have him be involved with your company and your family, do consider something behind the scenes instead of in the ring, because he's been done, but now with everything that's happened,
he's been done, but he's been asked to come back.
Yeah,
and that has forced his hand.
Yeah, there's only but so many reunions you can do before.
Yeah, agreed.
You kind of got to look at it like that. So something to think about. Something to think about.
Yeah,
but that's gonna do it for now. She's the beautiful and the lovely.
You gotta stand
Tammy.
up, Lee.
Oh yeah. In case you guys haven't already, I actually had got this a couple of weeks before the date of the official street release date. So I don't know if WWE might have been. I tell you, the show has crossed paths with them a couple of times. She knows about it. It's well documented. Maybe they were trying to show me some love, but I actually had got this a couple of weeks before the street release date. I got my Undertaker. Let me actually pull up my my joint here. Yeah, I got my Undertaker.
See? Ain't it cool?
I got my Undertaker Last Ride shirt. So definitely representing here. First time wearing it. You can get it at WWE shops, about $20 or whatever. I'm an Undertaker fan. I can't believe I'm ending it without show you my dedication to the Undertaker. Right here, you can see a poster of Undertaker
there.
right there.
Nope.
And then
Yes, there.
well, they can see it. I know they can see it. And then there's actually a really cool Undertaker framed picture. You can't really see it, but there's a really cool Undertaker joint with Shawn Michaels. It's got his autograph on it, Undertaker's. It's got Undertaker's autograph on it. I think it was their first match at Mania. Not their second. It was their first one. So that should tell you all you need to know as far as how much that guy has meant to me, and watching his career and all that over the decades. And trust me, Tammy knows this. When we went out there to see CM Punk, one of the guys I was talking to, he had heard rumblings that apparently Undertaker was supposed to be doing something at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh yes, I remember.
And
there was a 20-minute conversation about that.
Yeah, and I remember,
as far as between us.
Yes, and I remember saying to Tammy, I said, if Taker is going to be doing something, I definitely,
come back.
Yeah, for Chicago, Taker.
Oh yeah, it's only a 12-hour drive,
right.
But I want to go back.
It's a 12-hour drive, but for Taker, I'll do it. Nobody else. And I told her that. And if I were to name you the names of the people, I told her I wouldn't do it for this person. I wouldn't do it for that person. I wouldn't do it for this person. It would kind of surprise you, because you would think the names, you would think I would fuck with them like that, where I would do all of that. Because that's a pretty penny that you're spending just to go all the way to Chicago. And look, you ain't doing no overnight thing. You're gonna have to be there, at least 2 nights or whatever. And then so that's a lot of money to But I told her, I said, Taker, I would do it for him. If Taker's in Jersey, if Taker's in Chicago, if Taker's in Philly, and my work schedule's on point, finances are good, I'll do it. I'll drive up there, I'll fly or whatever.
Predictions for me, and just FYI, this is just how I feel about it. And what's coming. Oh, he's going into Hall of Fame next year, and it will be at WrestleMania.
Okay, so you just went on record before we got ready to wrap it up here. Now, I want you guys to peep that out because I got to give her a lot of credit. Far as I know, she was the first, unless somebody had screened these episodes weeks in advance and wrote up an editorial, whatever. I don't know anything about it, but we got her on audio on episode 4 saying for her preview of chapter 5, he's going to retire. And she fucking called it. So if you feel right here and now that next year, 2021, Taker's going into the Hall of Fame, I'm going to take that and I'm going to cash it. What do you guys think? Do you think 2021 sounds about right, given everything that's been going on? Do you think that timing is perfect for Taker to go into the Hall of Fame? That's another good follow-up question.
All I'm going to say is if you like Taker like that, and obviously you do.
Right.
But you need to start saving up now.
That's damn good advice. That is damn good advice. All right, guys, y'all be well, be safe, most importantly, be kind to one another. We will see you all next go round. Adios.
Bye, y'all.